Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this week's sports podcast. It's Friday, the 24th of September 2021, and we're now into autumn, and the seasons change, and so does the sports. Obviously, the cricket season, the Halifax cricket season, is now finished, although some of the national and international cricket is still going on. So there'll be a little bit less cricket content in the weeks going forward, but hopefully I'll be able to keep you up to date with what's going on with the local clubs. So any news that we have from Sawbridge, from Bradshaw, and from any other clubs. Also, I'm still hoping to do an interview with Jacob and Mike Myvenroyd about the title win, or one of the other guys from Myvenroyd possibly. So keep your ears peeled for that. So at this point, it's probably a good time to mention if there's any sports I aren't covering that you'd like to see covered, or you'd like to contribute to the podcast in any way, just get in touch with me with a private message or something like that, and we'll see what we can do. But obviously, there's still plenty of things to talk about, and as we get going this week, we'll start with the football and the Premier League, which is now pretty much well underway. The table's starting to take shape. The top teams are sort of like emerging at the top of the table already. Chelsea are ahead of Liverpool on alphabetical order basically, because they both scored 12 and conceded 1. They both got 13 points. Manchester United also over their late victory against West Ham. They're also on 13 points. Surprise package so far being Brighton, who have got 12. They're in 4th, and then they're followed by Manchester City and Everton, were both on 10 points. At the other end of the table, it's already looking a little bit concerning for Norwich, who are struggling to get anything at all. They haven't scored a point so far, and they find it really difficult to get off the ground, so it's going to be tough for them. So this weekend, the big games are Saturday lunchtime, Chelsea versus Manchester City at Stamford Bridge. That should be a great game to watch. Hopefully I'll be watching that one. And then we've got Sunday tea time, a North London derby is Arsenal against Tottenham. So they're the two main games. Other main games I can think of to mention are Leeds are at home to West Ham, and Villa are at Old Trafford against Manchester United, so I'm expecting a defeat there. Although they have performed fairly well this season, they're doing okay, the 10th so far. So we'll see how that goes. During the week in the League Cup, there was surprise for Man United when West Ham sort of got a mini bit of a revenge by beating them in the League Cup and knocking them out at Old Trafford. Their reward for that is a home tie against Manchester City in the next round. Chelsea beat Villa on penalties, and they've got Southampton in the next round. And we've got Tottenham beat Wolves after 2-2 draw. They beat them on penalties as well. So some interesting games there. Leeds qualified as well for the next round. Arsenal cruise through, and they've got Leeds at home in the next round actually. They beat Wimbledon 3-0. So that's what's happening in the League Cup. That's what's happening in the Premier League. In the Conference National Division, Halifax had a really good win last Saturday against Stockport. Stockport were probably the better team in the first half. Halifax had the one chance for a free kick from Matty Warburton just before half time, and he scored a brilliant goal into the bottom corner. In the second half, Halifax pretty much controlled the game to some extent. And they had 2 more goals in the second half to be comfortable 3-0 winners. Stockport's head seemed to go down a little bit. Obviously, there's a big expectation on them with the big money they spent. Paddy Madden up front, I thought was very disappointing. He hardly got a kick. Marshalled well by our defenders. I thought I had a good game. Another good performance from Billy Waters. Scored again. I think that's 6 goals now in 7 games he's got. So he's doing really, really well. He's been a good signing, as I thought he may be. You just never know how well they're going to settle into a new club, but he's done really well. So Halifax are in 6th place at the moment. The next 2 games against teams who are sort of like right at the bottom of the league. Dover had the points not top, so they're at the bottom at -9. And then you've got Barnet and Aldershot. The next 2 games we've got Aldershot this tomorrow away, and then we've got Barnet away the following Saturday. The only problem being that both sides sacked their manager on Monday. So we've got new manager in place in Matt Molesley, a friend of Pete Wiles apparently from the interview I read with Pete, and saying he's a good guy. He also knew Dan, so he said he was a bit disappointed to see him, get the chop. But they're good guys, but it's not really what we need to worry about. We need to get the 3 points on the board against Aldershot tomorrow, who scored 4. I think they've had a win and a draw, but they've come in the last 2 games actually. So I was looking at the league table as I'm talking to you. So whereas Barnet have only got 2 points and they've only got 2 draws, and they've lost 4 out of the last 5. So neither of those teams are in form, but they're 2 games next up for us away from home. I'd like to see a minimum of 4 points out of it, but ideally I'd like to see us get 6 points to keep up our push at the top end of the table. And at the top end of the table, it's Chesterfield who lead the way at the moment. They've got 17 from 7 games, unbeaten, 5 wins, 2 draws. My friend Aidan Varney at Jamaica will be loving this as a big Chesterfield fan. And then you've got Dagenham, second place 16, Grimsby on 16. We've got a game in hand actually, they've not lost yet either. Notts County got 15, they're unbeaten but drawn 3. Boreham Wood in 14 ahead of Town on 13. So started well for Town. The only one game that was poor was when they played Yeovil away and lost 0, but that was a really poor game all round. But other than that, they've generally looked good in most of the games. So it's positive so far, and let's hope they can keep it up with these next 2 matches, where it'd be nice if we could get another 6 points on the board, as I've already mentioned. Okay, today is a big day in the world of golf because it sees the start of a Ryder Cup, and hopefully Team Europe can defend the title they won in Paris in 2018. I can't remember what year it was now. It's 3 years ago, I think. 2018. This should have been last year, the Ryder Cup. It's at Whistling Straits in Wisconsin. The USA are heavy favourites this year with so many top players in the top 10 in the world rankings. Obviously John Rahm is the world number 1, so we're pinning our hopes on him, and obviously the perennial efforts of people like Rory McIlroy and postman Ian Poulter. For the USA, I'll be interested to see whether they can cohesively work as a unit. Everybody knows about the disharmony between Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau. It'll be interesting if they get on alright. There's obviously keep questioning them in the press, but they have some great players, so Europe probably needs to get ahead before it comes to the singles on Sunday if they're going to retain the trophy. It'd be nice if they can, and it brings a lot of people brings interest to a lot of people for golf, because it's not a sport that a lot of people I know actually want to actively watch, but some of them play it. Quite a lot of people, my friends, play it but don't necessarily watch it all the time. So and this is the one thing I do tend to watch. So come on, Team Europe, you can do it and beat the USA. Keep them quite a bit longer, because they're always very confident, overconfident in my opinion. So yeah, let's see if they can do it. Okay, moving on now to Rugby League, and the playoffs are underway in the Super League, and the playoffs in the Championship will also be underway this weekend. Leeds eliminated Wigan last night with an 8-0 victory. It was a dour game. Leeds won basically because they made fewer errors than Wigan, and Wigan just didn't look like scoring at all. Ironically, I was listening to the commentary during the second half, because I watched the second half, and it was the second time ever Wigan have been nilled in the ground there in the stadium, and it's the second time this season. They're both been by Leeds. So, but Leeds were no great shakes, but they're through and Wigan are out. So now in the other elimination semi-final tonight, we've got Warrington at home to Hull KR, and if whoever wins that one will go through, and they'll face either Catalans or St Helens in the semi-finals, and that'll be next week, and the grand finals are following Saturday at Old Trafford, the 9th of October. The NRL playoffs start this weekend as well. Or should I say, the NRL final playoff spots are decided this weekend. Souths and Manly and Melbourne Storm and Penrith Panthers are teams involved there, looking towards their grand final, which is next Saturday, early hours of our time, 3rd of October. So they're 2 semi-finals, and one of them's this morning actually. I think the other one's tomorrow. So keep your eyes on the NRL playoffs if you're interested in that. In the Championship here, the elimination semi-finals take place this week, and if you've got Sky, you can watch the games one after the other. Batley take on Bradford. I think that's at 3 o'clock, and Halifax take on Whitehaven at Shea at 5:15. So good luck to Halifax Panthers. Hopefully they can make it through to this elimination semi-finals, where they'll be waiting for them will be Featherstone Rovers and the Toulouse team in Perpignan. So not Perpignan, it's Toulouse. What's that for? Catalans are in Perpignan, Toulouse is in Toulouse, obviously. But yes, Toulouse and Featherstone will be waiting for the next round. I think I can't see past Toulouse or Featherstone really, and to be honest with you, I can't really see past Toulouse. But we'll see what happens in those as well. So like I say, good luck to Halifax Panthers there. Next we're going to talk about Speedway, and the domestic leagues are now reaching their playoffs as well. On Monday, the first leg of the semi-final takes place between Wolves and Peterborough, and then on the Thursday, the first leg of the other semi-final takes place between Sheffield and Bellevue. The following week, Monday the 4th, we see Peterborough at home to Wolves in their second leg, and then the following Thursday, the 7th of October, we see Bellevue at home in their second leg against Sheffield. So this could have gone any way. There's been a little bit of controversy about how we've arrived at the draws for these. It sounds like people are suggesting it was botched or it was just fiddled basically, so they have the teams that they wanted because it fit with race nights and riders and stuff like that. I'm not sure if that's the case or not. Don't want to go into that too much at this stage. I am a little bit surprised. It said that in the press release that Wolves and Peterborough both agreed they would have picked each other. I can't see Wolves picking Peterborough because Peterborough beat them home and away. In fact, I think they beat them 4 times out of 4, or at least 3 out of 4 this season. Whereas Wolves have beaten Bellevue 4 times out of 4. You'd have thought Wolves would have picked Bellevue, but Not sure about the thinking behind it and the actual decision making process, but yeah, we'll leave that there. In Poland, the first leg of their playoff final was last night. It was a 45-all draw between Lublin and Wrocław. Dan Bewley performed really well for Wrocław, scoring 10 in the bonus. Top scorer was Maciej Janowski. The home team were kept in it by Dominic Cabera. I think he scored 16 in the bonus from 7 rides, and Mikkel Mikkelsen also scored 12, so those 2 riders kept them going. Ty Woffenden and Artem Laguta were a little bit off form. Ty scored 7, I think, and Artem got 5. But they're at home in second leg on Sunday, and you'd fancy, having got the draw in the first leg away, you'd fancy them to win it in the second leg. The racing was really good last night, and they rushed through it because they were expecting rain. But yeah, it was a good meeting. Nice to watch it on Free Sports for once. First Polish meeting I've seen this season, I think. So enjoyable and good racing. And in the second, just back to Britain, Poole have sealed their place at the top of the championship table with the latest win during the week. They won on Wednesday night. So that's a good result for them, and I've got to say they look like the favourites for that division. Poole should be in the top league in my opinion anyway. They've got more money than the other teams probably in the second division, and they get good crowds, so yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they won it. You did never rule out teams like Leicester or Glasgow have also got good lineups, but ultimately I think Poole may be the favourites. Okay, moving on from Speedway now, and we are going to talk about cricket. Women's ODIs series against New Zealand last night. England wrapped up the series as 5-match series. They've now head 3-1 after last night's victory. They beat New Zealand by 3 wickets. They had 245 target, got there for 7 wickets. Heather Knight scored a century to win England the game. So that's a good result for England. New Zealand are a tough team to beat. They've got a good women's team, so that's a great result for them. The IPL's back underway at the moment, so we've got a couple of weeks still to go on that. That's being played in the UAE, and then we've got the T20 World Cup coming up in the mid to late October. I think it starts something like the 17th of October and runs to the 14th of November. West Indies are the defending champions, and they'll be hoping to defend their title with their usual swagger and entertaining brand of cricket. But obviously there were teams like England, Australia, India, South Africa, Pakistan. There's loads of teams out there could win this. It's very open, I'd say, this time. The conditions may favour the subcontinent teams because of where it's being played. But yeah, I think that's in the UAE as well. So good luck to England in that. But that's about 3 or 4 weeks away. Obviously, there's still a bit of a commotion about the Ashes as to whether they're going to go ahead or not. I know Boris Johnson's discussed it with Scott Morrison with regards to the families travelling. I think that could be the crucial issue. If the families aren't allowed to go, the players are going to say they don't want to go. The series may get cancelled, but we'll see what happens. It's a couple of months away. The first test I think starts, or is due to start on the 8th of December. So we've got a couple of months yet, but they need to know it sorted for the travel itineraries and stuff like that. So hopefully there'll be a decision on that in the next week or two. And then coming on to the county championship, as a Yorkshireman, this doesn't please me at all to say that it looks like Lancashire are going to win the title, which is depressing to some respect. But Yorkshire obviously have done okay this season, but in the last game or two they've not been able to play the test players. I don't see why Milan, Root and Bairstow couldn't play in this game, last game, and they fought hard. And even if they lose today in the game, they're playing against Nottinghamshire, they fought back well after being out for a ridiculous low score in the first innings, and it's not been good. They followed on, but Adam Lyth scored a nice 153 in the second innings. That's good for him. Good way to round off the season probably for him. It's been an alright season. Some of the off-field stuff's clouded the issues with the Azim Rafiq stuff, but again I don't want to go into that. Okay, so that's what's happening in the world of cricket. And one final issue to talk about this week is the boxing. I'm not big into boxing, but a couple of things I want to mention. First of all, the big fight tomorrow night, Anthony Joshua against Alexander Usyk. Everybody thinks that obviously Joshua's a big favourite for this fight, but Usyk's going to be a dangerous challenger. I've just got a sneaking feeling for Usyk, but I'm no boxing expert. I'm not really into boxing. Some other people out there who like boxing or watching this podcast maybe want to comment on this and below. Feel free to do so. And the other one I want to mention is next weekend my friend Catherine Ludlow Green, her son Joe, has his second professional fight in Oldham, having won his first fight. So good luck to the Ghost, but I'll give him a name check there. So brilliant stuff there from Joe. Okay, I think that's just about it for this week. A little bit shorter than normal, whilst I adjust to the content as the season changes. But like I say, if anybody wants to see these subjects or sports that I haven't covered, just drop me a note, and anybody who wants to contribute or get involved, we can always do like a Zoom issue. During the winter, perhaps we may do a roundup of the season for the cricket, for Alex Cricket League. Maybe look at each team on a week-by-week basis, perhaps at some point, and just summarise how the season went, and we can get some of the people involved from Bradshaw, Sawbridge, and the other teams. Happy to involve Worley, Copley, Shelf North, Edgetop, SBCI, Blackley, any of the teams, Booth, Triangle. I've already mentioned Mike and Ride, so yeah, any of those guys. And if I missed anybody out, I apologise. But as always, thanks for watching, and I'll be back with more updates next week. Bye for now.